Hello, YouTubers. This is another session with me and my brother Josh McCall here to continue our sessions in developing a decentralized social media platform for the betterment of social interaction in the world, respecting people's privacy, their private data, allowing them to share their thoughts and opinions without, someone at Harvard making a website comparing girls to pigs, telling them what's moral and what's not. So, with that being said, how have you been, sir? It's been a while. Just for the people watching us, last session, Josh and I just got too much comfortable talking to each other. We forgot to record the session. So just for the people watching, Josh is actually like more than just someone who knows tech. He's my friend. So unless I say, okay, let's record, we're just gonna keep talking. So, so I think it's that happened last time, and I was like, what kind of silliness was that? I don't even remember. Oh, I think we were talking about some work stuff, and I just got too deep into it, and yeah, that's funny.
The use work, life, religion, food. It was like 4 hours. So.
It actually went on for like, I think it went on for a while. It's funny. So today, we're gonna do something together that you're gonna like a lot. Did we finished up the integration, actually hitting up the API and creating the record for the post and all that. Now, this thing that we're gonna do together is something I haven't done with you before, right? It's a new concept. Remember how I told you your API is returning a problem details, right? And these problem details propagate all the way upstream until your UI renders that problem detail, into actual error messages like I showed you in that YouTube video. So we're gonna do something very similar to that. Now, just so you understand, we have to distinguish between errors that are generic for the entire post, like, oh, a dependency failed. It's not a particular field that's failing. No, it's just we couldn't contact the API. You're not authorized. Your API is throwing a 500. There is some issue, whatever the case may be, versus pointing out the particular error that's happening. And just for the people watching, you know, displaying errors is different from one place to the other. Like some people like to display, the field itself, the form itself would go red, or they would display, what do we call it? Joshua, the little window that pops up at the top, is that called toast? Toast?
Yeah, yeah.
The toast. What
Post
about the one that
notification. Yeah.
pops from the bottom? What's it called?
We don't use that. Nobody uses that. No, I'm not sure.
I also want us to implement this thing that some websites do. You see a little tiny line at the top of the screen that is like a loading progress bar. It's like a loading progress bar, and that loading progress bar basically gives you you know, there is something going on, right? I don't like that loading progress bar a lot. I like the little loading. Ooh, we also talked about when you submit what shows up while I guess we're gonna do that today, and then we can do the validations later, right? Okay, let's do that first. All right. So let's do this. Let me open up a Tarafu here real quick. Let's go to, let's see. Wow. You know how I know I haven't worked on something in a while? You see the latest opened stuff and you start wondering like what happened there. But okay, let's do this. Let's do this, Joshua. So just for the people watching, okay, in addition to the validation, there's a nice trick. This is gonna blow your mind. I can't wait to see what you gonna think when I show you this. This is not something I showed you before. So brace yourself, okay? So here's what we're trying to do. Let me just increase the resolution on my screen first, and then I'll tell you what we're gonna do. So we're trying to test a situation where the form is in a position between submitting the request, the post, and actually getting the response from the API saying the post have been submitted successfully. Okay, there's a bunch of architectural design decisions. Do we do eventual consistency or do we keep the person waiting? It depends on how big submitting a post is, right? So there is a state when you submit, you hit the button, and the button is telling you loading. I'm waiting to submit that before it actually hits the API. How on God's green earth do you visualize that? How do you visualize that? How do you test drive that? Okay, so let's just go here first. Let's go here to the RFO portal. Can you see my screen, brother?
Yep. Looks good.
Okay. Okay. We want to visualize that. We want to go and say, I want to write a test that when I hit the submit button, I will wait a little bit so I can verify, that something has happened in the system that changed the outlook of your UI. Are we clear on that one? Is this clear?
Yep.
Okay. So how do we do that, Josh? Here we go. So I'm gonna go here. There's a little tiny thing in the test in here that makes things so much more beautiful in the render here. So I'm gonna collapse all of this. And I'm gonna go here and say, okay, here's fact, public async task should disable controls while submitting async. Okay. Or let's just do something like this. Should disable controls and display loading while submitting on submit async. Okay. So far so good, right? So I'm gonna go here and say, okay, given when then. Okay, and I want to go here and say, okay, I want a student, sorry, not a student, well, a post view. So there's a post view. So random post view. I always use the student example. Create. Did we not do a post view? Yeah, create random, get random content. Oh, because of the post is nothing but, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I wish yeah, get random content. Here is a random post. Here we go. New post view. And here is your post view. Because that's all that it has, really. So this is content, like this. And this guy is a var. And here's your content, right? Now check this out. What do we call when we submit a post, Josh?
Our
What
mock service, right?
our service, right? So this is our
Mm-hmm.
service. So service dot, add post view async. No problem there, right? And this is your, let's say this is my var. Actually, I'm gonna call this some post view because in this particular instance, it doesn't really matter, actually. Some post view, because what I'm trying to test here is something completely different than what actually been submitted and all that. So I'm gonna go here and say whatever is being posted in here, post view. Watch this. So I'm doing that. I'm gonna go here and say returns async. So far, so good, right? And then I'm gonna go here and say this value right? Some post view. Watch this. Delay. Time span. Time span from milliseconds. And let's just give it 500 milliseconds.
Interesting.
Wait, you're not. So I can control my mock to actually delay. Are you entertained?
Yeah, no, yeah. Normally we would just like trigger it and then say that and control that when to respond manually and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But now I didn't realize that the test could actually have that actually in the test itself. So
You want to test a scenario where you want to see how your app behaves. I'll tell you so many other tricks in there. This is new. I didn't tell you about this before, right? So, okay, let's keep going. So what do I want to do? I want to go here and say, well, if that's the case, here's my rendered component. I'm going to do exactly the same thing that we did here. I want my rendered component, click the button, all that good stuff. No problem there. Okay, so this is all good. And this is your text area. Oh, I see now why we created random content. So it can say some content. There you go. And then I'm gonna go here and say some content. That's when we use some, you know, for the people watching, some content just means I don't care. You know, because whatever happens in that content, it wouldn't matter to me, right? So what do we want to happen when or while we're submitting that button, right? Like what would we do? Let's say I don't know if we put a label in there or something like that. Let's see, post dialog. We didn't put any labels or anything, so I just want to disable that guy. I don't know if we have that that capability, but let's just take a look. Rendered. We're gonna do a lot of stuff with it, but so this is your post dialog rendered component dot instance dot text. Did we call it a text area? And then is disabled should be true. So you're setting it as disabled while the submittal is happening. And then everything else should be the same. So I'm going here and saying, I don't know, is visible, dialog is visible, sure, post instance, this happened. I don't care about the post view either. Let's see here. I just want to verify no other calls have happened at the very end. Not
Did we
that I.
want the do we want the button to be disabled? And you mentioned also a spinner. So you said that the text area is disabled. Is that really the only thing that's going to be disabled, or are we going to taking this as a piecewise?
Yeah, we're gonna edit piece by piece. We already figured out the hard part, right? You know, just so this should fail. So let's see here. This should barf. Let's see. I set up the son of Anton to do the debugging for us, and he deleted the entire system. It's very likely that the son of Anton decided that the best way to debug our system is to delete the software. I love the Silicon Valley. You should. So, okay, what is this guy saying? Say, I expected this to be disabled, but I found it not disabled. So let's see if you can make this worky. So, worky. So this is gonna be fail. Go for it. Yeah, Joshua. Oh, I didn't push
Okay.
that one. Here. Yeah, Yeshua. Yeah, Yeshua. I need to come up with new songs for every member on my new team. It's part of the
Initiation.
initiation.
Oh, we're not supposed to say that. Never mind.
Are you entertained or not? You learned something
Yeah.
new today. Yes? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I did my job. That's it. There's more, of course, but this is me holding off time. I'm holding time. I'm faking a delay. Here we
Okay.
go.
So we have this delayed, and when we hit that post, we need to have that input to be disabled. So let's go to the component itself. So go to definition. Okay. So, and this is the test. So we want to our post dialog, go to definition.
We should have called this post dialog component, by the way, but we can code drop this later.
What were we thinking? Okay, so in this post part, we want to be able to say this text area. So the first thing we want to do is set this to be our this dot text area dot is disabled equals true.
You can't do it this way. Set disabled is the way you want it. Remember how we said don't set properties. I don't know if there's a set disabled there, but if there isn't, create one. You're a grown up man. You can do it. It doesn't have it. Is there like let's go to the base component and let's make it this way.
Okay.
So does it have like a nice function?
Set value? No. So we'll do a public bool. Do we want to return?
Oh, just void. Yeah, okay. Just say void and then set disabled. Set.
Do you want set is enabled or
sure,
is disabled?
I'm okay with that. Set is enabled is fine too.
and we can take
We'll
a
take a
bool.
boolean.
Is enabled.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
This dot in is enabled. So we have is disabled and is enabled. Why do we have both of them? One's a parameter and one's our private state. But we want to set our private state, right? So this is enabled to the value we're passing in, right?
Well, is disabled is what is this is enabled? Oh, we did that just for what? Why did we put it there? To make things easier for the UI. Yeah. So yeah, we just want to set I would set is disabled equal.
Aha.
Mm.
So that's just okay. Again, disabled, which is going to be
Or just say disable, Josh. Just write a function that's called disable, and that's it.
gotcha. Disable.
Mm. Don't forget to invoke async with the state has changed, okay? Equal true. And then you want to scope this because you want to say state has changed, right?
Aha. So we can do the basically the same thing as this guy, right? Invoke async.
We could, yes.
Is that not how you want to do it?
Well, there is no value that you wanted to set, but I guess you could say state has changed. Like, you know what I mean? Like invoke async, not on the value changed. You won't need it in here. You won't need it. Just create a scope and I'll tell you. Just create a scope. Go back to where you were.
Okay.
Just open a scope here and I'll tell you. Yeah, take that and then just type underneath invoke async. Nope, just say invoke async. And then just put inside this guy state has changed. Nope, just state has changed.
Oh yeah, because it's the function. I gotcha.
Yeah.
State has changed.
That's it. You don't need to make the call. Just put the name of the function. Yeah, it just needs the reference of the function. Okay, so now just call disable on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Dot disable. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, Joshua. No line. This guy's a multi-line. Yeah, run the test. See what happens. Failed the verify. Oh, just say we called the add post view async once. Go back to my test real quick. And just add in there verify post view, like just like the test above it. Yeah, this guy. Post view mock async whatever. Yeah, that guy. And just say it is any. Yeah, like we don't care about the actual value in this test. We're intentionally being ignorant to keep the attention. Like you see where it says it is this dot post view whatever. We just want to say it is any because we don't care. We already tested that in another place. It drives some people nuts when I tell them we don't care. They're like, but why? We want to verify. I said, you already verified that. You need to talk about something else. Move on, you know? Anyway. Okay. Fix your indentations, please, Josh. Your tabs are all over the place, son. Why don't you enable the white space display in Visual Studio? You don't like it?
There was an update or something. It would be okay. There we go. So now it passes.
It passes.
No. Yeah. Okay. Now that goes past.
So now let's test this together. Why don't you throw task delay in your post?
In my post.
Yeah, go into your post backend of front end model.
Okay.
And then go and add post view async. Inside add post view async.
You want to go into this? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The implementation.
Yep.
And then yeah, inside that guy, just do this. Do task, await,
Oh,
dot delay. No, you were doing fine. It figured it out for you, even though you were, bro, just do dot delay. No, you await,
wait.
task,
Yeah.
delay, dot delay, and then open up and then put in there 5,000, 10,000.
Oh, I heard 5,000.
That's
Going once.
10,000. Okay, and then let's run. Do you have your API running by any chance?
No.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's gonna throw an exception, but we want to just see it kind of freeze your dialog.
Okay. So it still passes.
Yeah, just run. No, I want you to, I put that task delay so I can run the app end to end. We're gonna delete that. It's not for the test, it's for the actual real life test.
Okay. So let me.
Can you share and care?
Let me open up the core.
Sure.
Oh, it's only sharing the one window, isn't it?
Yeah.
I will also push the code up. Maybe it might be faster on your machine.
Yeah, sure. Well, they don't want you to push test code in there. Did you already add that? No, no, don't push
No,
that
no, I
code
did
there.
not. I just did the passing test, but it
Yeah,
looks
that's
like
fine.
it's coming up.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Okay, do you want to share the whole world or the window rather for the
It's all starting up. I'll let you share your screen and do the delay.
You want
Go
me to
ahead.
do the delay on my side?
Yep, I don't want to keep everybody waiting. It's starting up. I bet you already have it running.
Okay, let's go back here. I'm gonna take your screen. Let's sync this up. Okay, so we're gonna pretend that a delay has happened, right? I want to go here and say, let me run all of these tests. We wanna pretend that the API is taking its sweet time. Maybe the server is down. Maybe I applied a retry logic there and it's taken multiple iterations, whatever the case may be. So I'm gonna pretend that this post view service is delayed. So I'm gonna go here and say, okay, here's await task dot delay, and there's 10,000 milliseconds, which is basically a 10 seconds, basically. So when I run this real quick, let's go to the UI and see what happened. This is just us seeing that it's actually work. I mean, the test is saying it works, but it's always nice to kind of confirm that in the real world, right? Let's go here. Here's Josh. Here's the dialogue. Do you see the dialogue by any chance?
Yes, I would do.
Joshy Josh. So if I click post, look, this guy is disabled. And then it's gonna, of course, blow up after 10 seconds because I don't have the API running. I'm gonna run the API now and try to get this thing running because of, yeah, I think it just threw an exception and it just stopped there because we didn't display the exception. But see, that's it waiting. So let me go and run the Tarafu core, just run the API side so we can have the full experience. What do you think, Joshua? Should we have the full experience?
Of course.
Okay. So I'm gonna run that on my side. So the API is running, and I'm gonna put the API. Okay, this is the API. Let me keep that one running. Just for the people watching us, if I do if12, if I go here, you can see that it threw an exception. It's saying I cannot connect. I wasn't able to connect to this screen. So, okay, now let me just verify that my core is running. Yes, it is. Let's go back to, I can see my Swagger. Now I'm gonna say Joshy Josh. I'm gonna click post. Let's wait for this guy. It's gonna delay 10 seconds intentionally, and then it's just gonna close the dialog. That's my expectation. 10 seconds seems like 10 days. Taking forever. Has it been 10 seconds yet?
There you go.
And it went, right? Let's verify that it actually did add this. So I'm gonna go here into into the API, and I'm gonna go into posts, and I'm gonna say get all posts and try it all. I'm gonna pull all of that. If I type Josh right there, right? So this guy basically is saying, okay, this is 4/4, this is the right date, and it's delayed. So you see how the test is saying while you're posting, I want you to be able to go and disable all the controls, right? Now, to prevent the user from going crazy and launching multiple, why don't you add another trick in there where you disable the button as well?
Okay.
Go for it. Back to Joshua. What do you think about that? This is pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Do you want? We should do it in the same test. We're just going to add another assertion, right?
Yep,
Okay.
same
So
test.
not only do we want this the text area to be disabled, we also want the
Button.
this dot post dialog rendered component dot instance dot button. There should be a button.
What did we call it? Do we call it submit button or something?
I don't know.
It's inside the dialog. It's inside the dialog itself. Do we not have the power to control it?
Power. Let's
go in.
look at it real quick.
Yeah, let's look at the base and see.
Go to implementation.
Yeah.
And we have our button titles. We just have the on click.
Do we have a reference to the button itself? Like if you go to
Let's
solution
check.
so there's this dialog button. If we attach a reference to it and disable it, that's all you need, right?
Okay. Let's do that. So
yeah,
add,
ref.
let's say add
Dialog button.
Dialog button.
You don't need the second add, I don't think.
Hope that looks pretty.
Okay. Do Control KD.
You know, I did that before, and it didn't do anything.
That's because they were running on Mac.
Nope, it's Windows. You can't run Visual Studio
It's
on
Windows that's running on Mac.
Give away my secrets. Okay. So now we just need a reference here. So we will do a public. We're gonna go
dialog button. Yeah.
We
need to give it a type, right?
Yeah, I had that in my paste bin.
I think it's still dialog button, even the type of it. I think. What's the type of this thing?
Dialog button.
Just a button?
It's a dialog button.
Oh, just like I said? Okay.
No one listens. Okay. So now it's a dialog button, and now we want to now we can
want to disable it.
Yep. So now we can come back to our test here. We can now say dialog button dot
disabled.
enable.
Does it have disabled?
Disabled? Okay.
Yeah, there it is. Should be false.
Should be, and then of course we want this all to be one line, right?
Yeah, push that disabled down by 1.
I kid. Okay.
Why? Just push disabled down by 1. With the dot. Yep, there you go. Run your test.
Okay.
Why is it passing? We must have forgotten something.
Because we want it to be true that it's disabled.
Yep.
Negate the negative. Or
negate the
negative.
The negative must be negated.
Something should be negative. All right. We don't want the service. But everything
Yeah,
else we
yeah,
want.
don't worry about the change you made in the service. That's right.
Okay. Do you think you can make this pass? I know this is a tough one.
This is gonna be tough. It's gonna be one of these hard ones. Actually, it might actually be hard, and I'll tell you why. Because the this internal component, I don't know why I did it this way. I wish I like to dissect and leave every kind of control on its own, but I guess we took that route. I guess Stanislav just decided to make it this way, so that's how we're gonna play. Can't argue with this German guy, get mad at you, you know. So anyway, so let me see if I can run this real quick. There you go. And if I double click on this guy, I can go here and say I need control. So let's see, basis, dialog base. You added in this dialog button and you forgot to put a new line. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Very good. And then let's see here, public void disable button. And then in here, I'm just gonna say dialog this dot dialog button dot disabled equal true, and then invoke async. State has changed. There you go. And then see, the problem here is that this guy um, it doesn't let you set parameters to it nicely. But I bet you I can do something pretty cool about it. Let me just see if I can make your test pass, and I'll tell you what we're gonna do about that. So it's saying I expected that to be true, but found.
So I'm accessing the property. You made a method, but we didn't change the in the code behind file to call that method.
That's right. That's a good call, Joshua. So thanks. So this is here. So you're basically going and saying this dot dialog dot button. Actually, just disable button. So now if I run this, that will do the trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of us are sleepy today, huh? Okay. Boom, works. You'd think Hassan would be happy because it works. Nope, not happy yet. Because this guy here is violating a rule. It's trying to set a property on the fly, and the thing itself is complaining. It's telling you, what the heck, man, you can't do it this way. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create here a property, Boolean dialog is dialog button disabled, like this, and I'm gonna set that dialog button disabled to be this value. Right? And then I'm gonna go here. What do you think? I'm gonna go here and say is disabled.
It's just disabled, right?
Disable, yeah. Dialog button disabled, just like that. So you think that would, so that's cleaner, right? I can go here and run my tests again. And I think it'll be happy. Do you think it'll be happy?
You never can tell.
It'll happy.
Oh yeah, we can tell. Okay.
So here's the thing. We can do two things. We can put a nice title, right? And the title will say submitting ... because it's 1995, right? Or we can put a spinner. Do we put the spinner?
What about a spinner that says submitting?
Let's let's see if he put the spinner. Yeah, he actually did put a spinner in there. Okay, that makes me happy. Let's put here's another test for you, and the test will say, oh, it should spin, while it's submitting before it actually shuts down the dialog. I like that a lot. And I'll tell you about some cleanliness kind of thing that we're gonna do together. A little team bonding activity for cleanliness. Did we even put the spinner in here? We didn't. See, so the spinner base, spinner. And then I want to go here and say, so this is inside text area base and then content and then the dialog base, right? Does the dialog base let us set things inside of it? So if I go back into the dialog base here, there's dialog buttons, right? Um, it's not gonna let us put a thing inside of it directly, right?
Yeah, the button just has a text, I think, if I saw right and stuff. But you're wanting to replace the text of the button with the spinner. Is that right?
Oh, you wanna put the spinner inside the button itself?
Well, that's what are we spinning and where are we spinning it? Like the spinner is going to be inside the button, or it could be over the whole dialogue, or
I was
what were we
thinking I
thinking?
I was thinking I would put it like let's visualize this together. Let me open up Draw.io, your favorite tool in the world. Let's visualize it together before we make a decision. What do you think about that? Like us actually discussing on a board what to do? Do you think that's like a healthy environment for us to,
We should also estimate this task. But
and let's sit for 20 hours discussing. Look at your face. I knew this is gonna get you. All right. So if the button is in here and we want this button, so you want to put the spinner inside the button?
yeah, so
Why?
when you click the button, you're disabling the button, and so it usually shows that the thing that you clicked on, it has some activity with it. So like while the button is submitting, you can see that the button is disabled and it's actively working, or you can put it on the whole dialogue, or you haven't seen a button that spins.
No, I know there is, but come on, man. But I'm just wondering, like, so a button that spins, right? So the button will be spinning. Let's see. So post submittal, that button in here would just have a circle in it, and
Mm-hmm.
that circle would just be spinning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. And it hides the text. The text
Mm-hmm.
disappear.
Yep. So basically, you're disabling the button. It goes to a spinner there, and that way it gives the user an indication that that button will come back to life when it's ready. Because if it errors out and you need to edit the post again, you'll then the text will be enabled and then the button will come back. But in our case, if it gets submitted successfully, the spinner will actually the whole dialog will just close, and then you can have access back to your page. So you either get the dialogue either disappears because it was successful, or the button becomes enabled and the text area comes enabled because you need to continue to make edits to your text. That's
Okay.
one way we could go.
I'm okay with that. Let's see if we can basically, do a little research here to see if this button has actually the option. I want to see if it has the option to
Child
actually
content, is that what that is?
inside the button. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I think if you it said child content right there, so that if you
Oh,
set the
this
child
guy.
content, yeah,
So you pass in the child content and you say, well, the child content is not going to pass like this. It's going to go in here.
right.
I don't like,
You're
I
gonna
don't, I really don't like having two base components calling each other though. I don't like that. But let me just try this for now. Is visible equal true? I just want to see what that looks like for now. And then we can, I think we're gonna have to break that button away from that dialogue. I don't like things calling each other. It's like two brokers calling each other, you know what I mean?
mhm.
So it's not showing. I think I think Stanislav had to do something extra to make that thing show up. Hold on. Let me just see what he did.
There
Tarafu.
is a I know with the Sync Fusion, if you there's a spinner, sometimes you have to give it a anchor or uh, like something to mount onto and stuff. But
Oh, really? Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Here's his stuff. Base spinner. So he What did he do? He put something in the page. He said spinner.show. And then he said spinner set value, loading ends and blah. Oh, did he attach it to some... Why did he do that? Hide, show, set value. Do we need to actually set... So how he did it, he basically set a value. Look what he did here. He basically set a value to be displayed while the spinner is running. You know what I mean? So if you look at Stanislav there, see what he did there?
Mm-hmm. I didn't.
On
I
a,
didn't see where it actually gets rendered into the Razor page though. So
oh, this part. He just did a ref for the spinner, and then he said here on
okay.
after render, he said, oh, just set this to tick everyone and then hide. So if you do spinner.show, that should be enough, which is basically what we did. We basically went in there and we said, you know, here's your spinner, just display it, right?
Yeah.
Just display that spinner. But now you have multiple base components calling each other. I'm not
Can you
okay
put
with that. Mhm.
Can you put the spinner outside the child content of the dialog button just in case that's not working the way we expect it to? Just to get it show up.
So you wanna basically go and say,
So if dialog buttons is just a container that we can put other things into, we can put it there, or you can just put it
I doubt it, but
inside.
we'll, let's try, let's try. If that's the case, that would be okay with me. But let's see. Here's a here's a um, hot reload. Let's see. Hot reload, and then I shut down the thing.
Yeah, because
Just stupidity. Stupidity squared.
the
There it
the
is.
editor is hot reloading. Hassan's brain is not.
Hmm. There. It's
Where's our
not
spinner?
there. No spinner. So I wonder. Let me put it in the body of the dialogue anyway, and just see what it looks like. What do you think about
Mm-hmm.
that?
Sounds good.
But that's not gonna be our final solution, right?
Of course.
So let's go back here. Let's go into. By the way, I need you to help me investigate the idea of making sure. You know how when we say verify no other calls,
Mm-hmm.
you make sure that nobody's calling your dependency in any way, shape, or form. I want to
Mm-hmm.
set the equivalent of that in the UI, verify no other components. So this will basically make sure that nobody's just slipping in additional components in your UI without your unit test catching it. You understand? I know how to implement it. I just want to run it by you. Like,
Yeah, that's actually a that's like a and again to compare everything to React, that's like a React snapshot test. Like if you were to take a picture of the component and then verify that there's nothing else on the screen or that the CS would change. Um,
exactly. I
but
want to
Blazor
make
has
sure.
that. I
Does
wonder.
it?
Yeah, you could actually. Yeah, you can actually. So when you it's they talk about a render tree. So when you can actually, I think you can do that. I think you can, because there's two ways to do that. You can convert it to HTML by doing like the render tree, and then it'll figure out all the you store that in a variable, make your changes, and then compare it to the previous result. Or you could.
You could do find all components, but that's
Oh, there you go.
hacky.
Yeah.
I should tell Eagle. Eagle, if you're watching this, go implement it, please. He can. He would
Expected done by Monday. You know.
actually. You know what? I'm gonna open an issue on his repo and tell him implement it. Hey, one way or another, what's the worst that he could say? He's gonna say, you know what, man, I'm not gonna do it. Or he's gonna go and say, you know what, I think that's a great idea. Let me just see. Let me open an issue.
He'll
Is
say
the
he'll
unit?
respond classic, the classic open source deal. I accept pull request.
Yeah, he would actually. Let's see, feature request. Um, I don't know. Base. Um, it's foundations. Verify no other components. Let's see. I don't know. He might get a little pissed off, but I'm gonna tell him anyway. Hi, Eagle. Just wanted to run this feature request by you. What do you think about doing the following? C sharp. Let's see, this dot rendered component dot verify no other components. The problem is that he thinks about these differently. So let me just explain. The idea here is to prevent anyone from adding additional components into the com rendered component if these components are not verified. So,
Basically, another way to think about it would be if you have branching logic and
mm,
you want to test, the branching logic, you want to have these three components that show on the screen if true, and these four components shown on the screen if false. In the true case, we want to verify that the three components are on there, but not any of the four, or not anything other than the three, right?
mm-hmm. Verify no other components have been called in that component. Do you think that's a useful feature? I think it's important to me. I don't know about you. I think it's important to us, right? This is very similar to mock style when we say C sharp, let's see, C sharp, this dot storage broker mock verify no other calls. Or
Your
verify, or rather verify no other renders. What is it? I'm what? Tell me.
your verify should be the very.
What?
You meant to type you. So this is very similar. It should be, but you typed this is verify similar.
Oh, my brain's not working. Very similar. And similar is wrong. You're rubbing off on me, Josh. That's not okay. Let's bug Eagle about this. Let's go to Twitter. So I could just open the issue and be quiet. Hey, Eagle, what do you think about this awesome, amazing, out of the world feature, brother?
You should tag Elon Musk and see his thoughts.
With Josh McCall. You, don't poke Elon Musk because he would answer. He would actually he would be like he would see he just Berlin rocks. Okay, so here's yeah, Eagle will be like, are you kind of calling me out on my library? Anyway, no, Eagle is all right. Eagle is all right. So, okay, so I put the spinner there. I don't know if you saw, but it popped up right in the middle of the screen.
Do it again. Do it again.
Okay, let me show it again. You're making me do work. What do you think about that? Huh? Is that a healthy relationship that we have, Joshua? Is that what it is? Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about doing work. That'd be,
You you may you may as well be a PM. It is. So
yeah.
why are we
Okay.
so why are we in this situation? Because we decided that two base components are going to call each other.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what we can do. We need to separate this button from this dialog completely. Like this button needs to be away from this dialog, right? So we can control what things look like.
Well, if we go ahead and disable our text field, and we just disable the button, and we just put the spinner on here, we're just adding another button or another component to the dialog. Does that change your? Do you like this the way it currently looks, or do you actually want to put the spinner in the button?
I mean, this works too, but this is a coincidence. This
Mm-hmm.
wasn't planned. That's not what we planned for, right? Let's see what it looks like. How about that? Huh?
Okay.
So I'm gonna go here and say, just out of curiosity, let's just, kind of see how like Ricky Like Ricardo Cruz would say, let's just see how it feels. I like when he does that. It'll be like, let's just see how it feels. And I'm like, oh, okay. Let me just see. Let me put a. You haven't met Ricky yet, but I like him a lot. He's all right. Ricky's all right. He's my friend. Don't hurt him, Josh. Don't be mean to him. Huh? Are you
You said
planning to
Ricky.
be?
I assumed Ricky Bobby. But
All right, let's go to so this dot spinner and then disable set value so spinner doesn't have. Oh, there's hide. Yeah, that's hide. There's show and hide. Yep. Let's go there and let's run this. This is just to see how things look like, but we don't have a test for it yet, right? Here we go. Here we go. Back to Josh. Joshua McCall. Here's the thing. Joshua McCall. And then I'm gonna click post. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let me put a delay there and see. Huh? Is it okay if I put a little delay there? You saw it. You saw it though. You saw it for a second, right?
yep.
Okay, so where is post view async? Let's go here. Await task dot delay, and there is 5,000. Let's make it 5,000 this time because it was really awkward silence the last time. I didn't feel comfortable. I just didn't feel comfortable sitting here, just staring at you with nothing to say between us. It was weird. Did you
I
did
mean,
you
when
feel
we're
that?
not recording, that it's normal, but when it's recording, it's just.
It's just the staring part. Okay, it's just the staring part. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like something like that's Josh McCall, right? Hold on. Let me see if I can make you an emoji. That's you, Josh, right there. That's you. That's all right, there. Posting. You know what, Josh? That's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. What? Did I turn off my API? Let's see. No, my API is still running. What happened? Let's see. F12. Maybe I forgot something. Yeah, Joshua. Maybe. Post. Huh. Let's see. Maybe we errored out or something. WebSocket, anonymous. This is happening with or without though. Something is up with that one. But let's just see. Post. Network. It wouldn't show on the network though, Josh, because it's server-side Blazor, right?
Correct. Yep. It's all WebSockets.
Yeah, I wonder why it's not connecting. Let me restart my core. So core is running, and go back to this one. Here's some stuff. Post. I'm gonna put a breakpoint here. I think this guy um, might be not able to read the data from the text box. Do you think that's what it is? Let's put that in here. And then I'm gonna go back and submit. Oh, there it is. There it is. Submit request. And then it went. Did it actually close the dialog? It didn't close the dialog though. I wonder if we have to shut down the spinner. No, you don't
No.
think? Why it's not shutting it down though? Because if you look at the API, let me just show you. The API itself is actually like, let me show you. If I go here, what happened? Oh, is that an error? Oh, it's still submitting. So I posted multiple times. Oh, it went away. But why did it submit twice though? That's weird. Look, Let me just show you what happened. Something really odd happened. So if I refresh like this, I do 1, 2, 3, can you hear me? And then I click post. It'll hit the breakpoint, and then it will actually submit. Let's just sit there awkwardly staring at each other.
Okay,
So
so when
it,
the UI doesn't doesn't reflect what's happening on the service, that usually we go down our debugging trail. Does that mean that there's a mismatch in the life cycles on when it's being rendered? So, is there something that should be calling state has changed, or gets out of the either something should be calling state has changed, or is not awaiting something when it is calling state has changed?
I think it's submitting twice. Did I put 50 seconds instead of 5? Hold on, maybe it's me. I put
It's always
I
you.
I put 50,000. 50,000 is 50 seconds, right?
There you go. There you go. Because it just went away, right? You're just messing
Yeah.
with yourself.
I
Okay,
put
just
50.
put a shorter delay, and then I'm sure it'll work.
Why didn't you tell me though? Why didn't you tell me? Like you're supposed to be there. Are you looking at the screen or like why are you making me see you're making me a bad person, Josh. That's the thing. I think our friendship is impacting me negatively. All right, here we go. Once more unto the breach, dear friends. Do you know who said that? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Can you make it to 5?
5.
Oh, turns out when you don't put a delay. Okay.
It looks beautiful though, but we need a test for it, right? Were
Yep.
you supposed to be the one writing the test or me?
Of course you, because I wrote the test about the disabled button.
Okay, sounds
So now
good.
you're going to put a positive test about the spinner showing up.
It does look beautiful though. It does look beautiful. So let me just fix a couple of things. So that spinner is there, but I need a test first. See, this is how I'm gonna make you do it anyway. Welcome to my world. I need a test in here that says, hey, that spinner. So
Well, I mean,
initial
we already have
dialog
our. Okay, yeah.
should be null, but
Mm-hmm.
when you display the dialog, that spinner should still be null. So this dot post dialog instance. Actually, I'm gonna end up being doing it. So spinner dot should be null. So this all of these tests will pass. All of these tests are good. Like if I go back into tests, hold on. Let me run all the tests here. All these should pass. Let's run this. Joshua, we're making progress, right? There you go. Yeah, all of these should pass, and then should submit post dialog should still pass. And then the last thing is here. So this is me saying, while you're waiting, while this dialog button disabled should be true, there's also the post dialog component dot instance dot spinner should spinner dot is visible should be true, and that one should fail, right? Yeah, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
How easy is that? Is that easy and simple?
Easy peasy, lemon
E
squeezy.
Easy peasy Japanesey. If you say that, that means you fought in World War Zero. Like you're old. So, so okay,
What? I've never heard that.
easy peasy Japanesey?
Yeah.
It's from Shawshank Redemption. Do you know what was his name? The old man that was in the library. Did you watch Shawshank Redemption?
A long, long time ago.
So easy peasy Japanesey from is a cutesy? What's a cutesy, Josh? Or is
A
it
what?
cutsy? Cutesy or cutsy?
I don't know what you're talking about. Did you have a stroke? Did I have a stroke? What's going on?
Yeah, this is from Shawshank Redemption, and the guy who said it, his name is James Whitmore, who played Brooks Hatlin in the Shawshank Redemption, and he said easy peasy Japanesey was very well known actor. Digging a bit deeper in history of this actor revealed his serving with the Marines in World War II, and such experience he employed in numerous movies from that period and storylines as Vice Adam Williams F. Bull Halsey Jr. in famous Tora. So he kind of carried that forward from a different time, pretty much. Easy peasy Japanesey. I like it a lot more than lemon squeezy.
The internet's going to be offended.
I thought you were Japanese. Are you offended?
At one point, I was.
Should put it inside the content, son.
Ah, yes.
You're a little too old for me to tell you that stuff, you know. At this point in time, you know, like you'd think like, you know these things, right?
Nope. 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 Nope.
Okay, now
Okay.
inside the submit, just say spinner.show and that's it. Is that too
Yep.
much work for you? Hmm.
Ooh.
There you go. Look at you, smart and all. Did I push the
Every third
delay
day.
in the submittal that I gave you? Can you look at the post view real quick? Yeah, this will pass, but look at the post view for me, please, Josh.
Sure. Chaos. Gotta do the important part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then go to the post view service.
Go to implementation.
This guy wants me to. So it's not, right? It's not
Nope.
there. So I deleted
Looks like
it
we're good.
because I'm a professional engineer. That's what. Did you go to post view? This is add post async. You need to go to post view.
Ah.
What happened to you? Do you see delays in there?
Nope.
Good job, Hassan. So what do you think? Should we add a title as well? I think that should be okay. So you're making a post. The post is popping. And we need to make that post a little bit smaller, but maybe we could do that at the very end. So I guess I was planning to show you the validation stuff, but I think this is also good, you know. What do you think about that delay stuff? It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I think that's interesting. What did we do before? We had to like manually kind of
Never tested it.
we tested states, but we didn't put because we would put it into like a loading state, but we never got
We,
a chance to do the delay.
we never
I
tested it.
guess that does make sense and stuff. So yeah, okay. So before we initialized it, we did an action, and it was all state driven. Now you're actually being able to play with the time and actually do the. I thought we were trying.
To be honest with you, Josh, this brings a very interesting discussion. Like, we said there is that the fundamental states are, loading content error, right?
Mhm.
You could go from, it's like a machine state. You could go from a content back to loading again because you are doing a submittal, or you could put a sub state like submitting dot 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 in like a submitting state. Either way is okay. Um, I think we did test just a state,
Hmm.
but it wasn't as cool as this.
No, no. So was that a new feature that came out with the testing framework, or is that something we
Nope.
just
It's
overlooked?
it's
And
it's just something we overlooked, something I was sitting around. See, the thing is, I was just talking to Tim Corey. You know Tim Corey, the YouTube guy. He posts a lot of videos out there, and he said something that I've been saying for a very long time. If your code from 6 months ago is exactly the same as your code today, then you're not really growing. Now, it becomes even more obvious when you're putting an engineering standard and you're saying, here's the standard and here's how the code is supposed to look like, right? And then you're coming in and you're saying, even though I was very consistent, I'm still growing and evolving.
Mhm.
It becomes much more visible if you're running just in the chaos with no standardization, it's really easy to evolve out of the chaos. You could move from one chaos to the next chaos as long as it's somewhat more ordered. But if you're putting a standard and you're saying, even though I followed the standard 6 months ago, like right now when I look at the different projects that we worked on in the past, I'll be like, oh my God, I'm an arm and a leg ahead of that. Like you'll see the next one is the validation, like in the next session you'll see the validation part where I'm displaying the errors right under the boxes, right? I mean, in this case, there's only one box, so it doesn't really matter that much. But, you'll see that the exception is carrying the values of validations, which a list of validation rules that is specifically targeting that particular input control.
You know what I like about the standard?
Hmm,
Hassan looks at my code. He says it's crap. Now with the standard, he looks at his own code and he says it's
it's
all
crap.
crap.
That's the beautiful thing. There's actually two big things I'm about to roll into the standard. There's always the beautiful thing about the engineering standard, it's not a software project, right? It's a bunch of concepts and ideas,
Mhm.
and I just learned recently, I was doing these brown bags inside Microsoft, I basically had 1,400 Microsoft employees signing up for system designs and architecture. And then I broke it into 50 groups, like groups of 50s. So 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 20 groups ahead. I think it was 20, 25 or something like that. Anyway, um, while I was explaining the standard to people, some girl stood up and she said, "Oh, so your standard is a fractal system or a fractal pattern." Have you ever heard that word fractal pattern before?
Yeah.
I
Just that
loved I
that it can
loved that she
replicate,
said
right?
that. No, not just that it can replicate, that if you split it in half, you'll get two systems that of reduced size of the original one. So what I was explaining to them, just so you understand, what I was telling them, and this is gonna blow your mind because I have actually never spoke to you about this. So this is how much I evolved since the last time we've actually like professionally continuously worked together. You know how I always tell people, okay, you have two foundation services, maybe two brokers, and then you have a bunch of foundation. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
So you have these brokers. Hang on. You have these brokers. So this is broker and broker. And then you have a service. And here's another service. And then maybe you have an orchestration service sitting here. This is orchestration, right? And then at some point in time, you're going and saying, well, if I have all of these, I can basically say, I can have an exposure layer sitting in here. And that exposure layer is a controller, right? So this is the tiniest piece of detail. So if the tri-nature of everything, back, I told you about the tri-nature theory that I
Hmm.
have. Everything is either a dependency, processing, or an exposure. And then this
Hmm.
exposure becomes the ability for other systems to become a dependency. So if I mark these dependencies in red, and I mark the purposing and processing in green, your logic, and I mark these ones, the exposure in purple, that's your one microservice, right? Now check
Hmm.
this out. If I'm building a microservices architecture and I'm breaking my domains, this is microservice, 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 and every one of these microservices own its own storage. Let's pick up these storages and put them in here. Like this, like this, like this. Check this out. Like this, like this, like this. So you have, each microservice has its own domain, Josh, just like we did with previous systems, as you know how my brain works, right? And let's say you put in there an orchestration service sitting in front of this to kind of make sense of all these domains together. So let's say you're talking to the students microservice and talking to the teachers microservice and talking to the courses microservice. So I have this orchestration service. Let's say this is school microservice, school microservice, right? Let's go back here. Here you go, right? So you have teacher, You have student and you have a class or course, right? Like this. Now, now check this out. In order for your microservice to be exposed to the outside world, you need a gatekeeper in here. And that gatekeeper kind of protects your entire architecture from the outside world, right?
Mm-hmm.
You must be seeing the pattern. So this
Yep.
way, if I'm exposing this, that basically means these are my dependencies. This is my logic, and this is my exposure layer.
Mm-hmm.
Now take this across multiple teams. Let's say you have Azure team in here, App Service team in here, and you have Azure SQL team in here, and you have maybe Payee in here, and maybe you have Microsoft, .com, Microsoft Store in here. This entire system becomes a dependency. This entire system becomes the orchestration, and this entire system becomes the exposure layer for cross-team communications.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, if I go a little bit deeper into the one service, if you pick up just one tiny service of these and go up in here and throw it in here, look, the one service itself has validation, processing, and integration. When we write a service, we do validate the input first, right? Validation,
Yep.
right? And then after that, maybe we do some mapping, maybe from view model to normal model. And then there's integration where you call your dependency, right? Guess what? Exposure, logic, integration. From the smallest bits in the universe to the largest bits in the universe, it's all following the exact same fractal pattern. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
split it, you still get smaller pieces of the same pattern. What do you think about that? I
Yeah.
I
You're.
I I did take the tri-nature theory way beyond the known and unknown universe. Like what I tell people, let me just uh, let me just clarify something to you. Um, what I basically tell people is that in order for you to build a great system, it has to be based on some theory. Any system out there is based on some theory. Like when people came and said, Alan McKay, the guy who invented object-oriented programming, right? Software engineering today, as system design and architecture, have diverged completely from that revered individual who actually proposed how object-oriented programming is supposed to work. I'm trying to bring that back. It's got to take a little bit of work, but I'm trying to bring that back. You have to have some theory, right? Today you will notice like people follow a certain pattern, a certain architecture, build a new system without any actual theory behind it, right? Anyway, it's late for you.
No, the comment I was going to add. It's great that you mentioned the Alan McKay reference and stuff because the video I think we shared the other day was talking. It was like 6-7 years ago and stuff. And a friend of mine sent me the link. And he says, "What do you think about this? Does this still apply? Everything and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, the concepts still apply because in the general concepts, even though the frameworks or the language features will change a little bit, the general concepts are still the same. And when we look at it, it's the same structure. You're putting more color into the diagrams, but it's the same structure and stuff. And what you describe is that if you don't have a theory, if you don't have a, you describe it in a tri-nature and talk and break things down in that way, but the same concepts apply in the fact that the organization and how it's supposed to be met to be employed or whatnot and stuff. And without that theory, you just get spaghetti code. So the you're
Even if you have a simple team, Josh, like let's say you have a bunch of engineers in a team, right? You could have someone who kind of orchestrates the capabilities, but they're not the savior. They're not doing anything. Let's say Josh McCullough is the UI guy. Kailu is the backend guy. Vishwa is the security guy. And then Hassan can come in and say, okay, let's mold all of these together and orchestrate. And then we can go and say, hey, Christine, you go out there and show that app to the outside world. Dependencies, orchestrations, and exposure.
Mhm.
It's not about software. I hope you understand that. Like the theory is rooted into so much more than just me playing around with a bunch of boxes in draw.io. But it works, Josh. It works. It makes things simple. I don't want to scare you, but you know how I went down and I said, here. Remember how I just right now, while I'm explaining this to you, I basically went down and I said, hey, there is these services and there's orchestrations and all that kind of stuff. Like, let me just go back to this one. So do you remember how I said even at the smallest bit, this is the service, and the service itself does these things internally?
Mhm.
Like this service does this and does this and does this. Do you think it can get any finer than that in a service?
Yes, because then your validation does the same pattern because it does the your dependency validation, your service
Yep,
validation, and your input validation, right?
yep, yep. So even the validation itself can break into structural and then logical and then dependency validation or external. Let's call it external validation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, exposure, processing, integration,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's go crazy. Do you think it can get any finer than that?
I'm going to say yes, but it's late, so I'm going to let you draw boxes.
I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that um, what I'm trying to say is that like you know how when you start from an atom and then you zoom out, like an atom, let me show you. An atom has a protons and a neutrons, and then there is this electron going around that field, right? It's going around this particular orbit, right? And you have these two things. This is your neutron, and this is your proton, and then you have your electron into your atom, right? You can do that, right? It works exactly like that. Did you know that if you dig deeper inside that neutron, what do you think is inside that neutron? Again, three more things. Why is it three and three and three? It's driving me crazy. Like they call it the quarks. They call it the quirks. Let me show you. Hold on. Can you tell I'm super like passionate about this topic? Hold on. What? Hold on. What is the content of a neutron? What is the content of a neutron? And then if you look at there, the quarks, and they are also three. What's funny is that I didn't pick up the purple, green, red color, and this just happened by coincidence. I swear to God, I didn't make this up. So do you know what like quantum physicists, they're saying that this is how it looks like if you get out of, you know how we say there's multiple brokers and multiple services and multiple controllers. This is how it looks like. You have a whole bunch of neutrons and protons, and then there's a bunch of electrons. If you look at this guy, it's saying the neutron is zero. It doesn't have any charge in it. And the proton is positive and the electron is negative, right? Let me show you something. If I go back here, if I go back here, wouldn't you agree that in a service, this guy here is a positive charge because it's giving you data, and this guy is a negative charge because it's consuming your data, and this guy is in between. It could be reading and it could be writing. So it's positive plus negative. It's neutron. It's neutral. I don't know where this is coming from either, just so you understand. But this is what I hear in my head, and this is what I'm saying through to you. And every time I say it, I feel happy. But anyway, it goes a lot deeper than that. There's a lot deeper, like if you find me in the mental hospital, just get me out. Because I think people could use something like that. But anyway,
Everyone watching notice that he's never been outside that room. The walls are padded, and
Anyway, if you read through most of the religious contexts and scripture, you will see it always breaking things like three like that. Always three and three and three and three. But I could go over this for years. I could talk about this for long, long hours. Your eyes are red. I'll let you go. Thank you so much for hanging out today, Joshua. This was fun. Sorry for the people that came for Blazor and then ended up being on a existential crisis of what the heck is this guy talking about, right? Thank you so much, Joshua. And for the people watching us, as usual, if you like our content, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, comments, compliments for Mr. Joshua McCall here, feel free to, drop a comment in the comment section. I'll see you later. Thank you, Joshua.